Okay, well, good Sunday morning. I'm just waking up from a long, long nap. But I woke up with something on my mind because I have this group. I don't know where the hell they came from, but I have this group that have this hate, and I don't. I guess it's a good thing for you to have haters because sometimes haters is like a pain in the ass, if you will. But then through them being a pain in the ass, you also see yourself pressing through that pain in the ass in order for you to reach your goal or for you to discover something about yourself. So today is going to be about yourself. It's not going to be about arrogancy of yourself. It's not going to be about superficial mess about yourself, about what you look like on the outside. It's going to be about the inside of self. That's what it's going to be about, that word today. When we know the story about Jesus, Jesus separated himself. God led Jesus in the wilderness, all by himself. 40 days and 40 nights. Jesus is on a fast, 40 days and 40 nights. Let's see. I cheated yesterday. I got off my fast yesterday. And I normally I did a fast, a 1-day meal a day. So I got off of it yesterday, but then I'm back on it today. Hold it. Let me pause this. So we have been programmed to look at food, if you will, from the outside. And immediately we crave it. We crave it, we want it, and we go taste it. And then our stomach get to acting up on us, right? And we don't know what the heck is going on whatsoever. But it's what we're digesting. And it's the same way with your physical. Yeah, you may be physically fit, but do you know how many, because I've traveled pretty well. And so maybe not in other country, but I have traveled around to a lot of cities and a lot of states. And I have engaged in conversation with a lot of people on all type of level. So therefore, Virgos may come across as shy people, but we're not. We have to get to know you and we have to find out what type of person you are, right? So I've ran into some gorgeous people or some successful people even. They successful in business, but in other area they got still low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. I had this one skinny white woman. She asked me, she said, how can you be a big size woman and have high self-esteem? Because it's called self-esteem. It's called self. When Jesus was out in the wilderness and God led him out in the wilderness, sometimes you have to get away from the crowd because Jesus' ministry just drew multi people around him, a multitude of crowds of people. And though Jesus was powerful through God, Spirit working through Jesus to heal the blind and to make the lame walk and deliver people that was possessed of demon and trapped and couldn't get out and insane and crazy and all of this. Jesus delivered them. But it comes a time where God will lead you away from the crowd, where God will lead you away from the clique, where God will lead you away from even your family to go in an isolation mode. Do you know what an isolation mode is? That's where it's you and God and only. Some people think that they're isolating me because they sit up there try to make people hate me. No, you don't isolate me. I have too much of a outgoing personality to be isolated by anyone. I could go up to anyone and strike up conversations with them. I know how to say hi in another language than just English. So I can, if I don't know no other type of conversation, I know how to say hi to someone in Spanish. I know. And if I don't know, I'm going to learn it because I figured that at least I could say hi to you if I don't know no other language for you to understand. So therefore, it comes a place where you find isolation is your solitude, where you find solidarity is the most precious gift that you can ever receive in your life because you begin to learn you and God. It's very important for you to learn about you and God because your body don't mean nothing, honey. It comes a time where how can you be so beautiful on the inside, but then you doubt in your own skills and your own abilities to do things. You have the look that society is looking for. So why are you so withdrawn on your capabilities of what you can do for yourself, within yourself, around yourself, under yourself, and over yourself? I have low self-esteem women that sit up there and try to do all kind of catty and petty, wacky stuff, sneaky things, say little sly words because they feeling insecure. When you feel good about yourself or you know who the hell you are, you don't ever have to talk bad about another woman. I guarantee you that. Throughout all the years that I've been here, nobody can ever, 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 ever say that about me. I ain't gonna talk bad about another woman until she disrespect me. Once she disrespect me, it's on the cracking. You get that same shit back done to you, and that's real talk. But if you ain't never did nothing to me, I ain't that type of woman, nor will I ever be. So the question is, how can you have so much look and you have so much low self-esteem? I was listening to another young lady. She said that she was an artist, professional. And her mentor or the person that was showing her or critiquing her artwork was also putting her down at every little piece that she did, right? So when you have a gift or you have a talent and you're solely depending on somebody else's thought about your art, you're in a danger zone because this is your art, especially when you do something off the crown of your head, just creatively, it comes to your thought and you begin to write it or sing it or draw it or make it, design it. This is your artwork. There was another young man, he was about 19 years old, clothing designer. And he said that he went to the runway, the runway off of the TV show. So he made it that far. So he had to be good. But he said that they downed his collection. And so he just stopped doing it. She said he downed her artwork, so she just gave up. And she didn't find no more interest in doing art. He gave up his designs and he didn't find no more interest in doing his design. This is a danger zone, ladies and gentlemen. When God said, "Let there be light," he wasn't waiting on somebody to critique the light. When God was making the animals and he made them of different colors and the hammerheads and whales and big ones and small ones, and every last fish under the sea has its own unique look about itself, and the birds in the skies have its own look, and the monkeys and the chimpanzee, though they of the same family, but they all have its own different look and style, and God did not need anyone to critique him. It was his artwork. It was his design, the birds and the animals, and even us as an individual. No, I may not look like you, and I may not look like a Beyonce, and I may not look like a Halle Berry, but when God was making me, God made me off of his own creative mind, whether I look like another person or not. God made me and structured me off of his own creative mind. When God was making you, God made you off of his own creative mind. He didn't need someone to critique him. He didn't need anyone approval. So now we're going back to you. You are a creative being because you are supposed to be in the image of God, and God is a creative being. So therefore, any artwork that comes up out of you, you don't need someone else's viewpoint to the point where it's always critical. Now, I'm a writer as well. Now, if there's an error in my spelling and I didn't, and because sometimes you could do that spell check and you thinking that it's giving you a good reading or good correction, and you go back and see your work and like, I can't believe that got overlooked. But even in that era, it still shows your work though. Even in the midst of error, it shows your imperfection. Even if you wrote a book and you seen that there was one or two misspelled word, it shows your imperfection as a human being. It shows that human beings are capable of errors, that human beings are capable of being misspelled or misunderstood. So when you're in your art and you're painting whatever comes to the top of your head, and even though, dang, I didn't mean to put no red with no blue, but it's amazing how the artwork still come out beautiful in spite of your error that you made. Jesus was isolated from people. 40 days and 40 nights. He had to fast from people. Sometimes you got to fast from people. Isolation is not that you're not that something is wrong with you. Some people, especially artistic people or people that's very creative, they don't like to be bothered. They don't want to be bothered with you. They don't care if you don't like them. The only thing that they're seeking is solitude and separation from you, and don't want the crowd to be following them. Did that mean that Jesus, when God led him away from the crowd, did that mean that Jesus was not concerned about the people? Did it mean that Jesus hated the people in that moment of his fast away from the people? No, I think that Jesus and God had to sit down and have a conversation. Why was Moses separated from the people in order to get the 10 Commandments? I think that before Jesus went to the next level of his ministry and what he was called to do, it was a point in his life that he had to be isolated so he and God will know the next plan. When Moses came down, and he came down with the 10 Commandments after being separated from the people. The people were still going on creating calves, and they needed another God. Not the God, but they needed to have something to look up to because of their own low self-esteem in themselves. If God was able to lead them out of Egypt, what you need a calf for? What you need to melt all your jewelry in order for us to create some kind of statue for ourselves that don't talk to us, just look at us. Ain't even looking at you, it's just there, just an object. It's called self-esteem for a reason. Self-esteem is a very powerful thing that you got if you use it. The word self is powerful all by itself because no one else is the majority rule but you are. Let's get this sound-minded in you. First of all, God separates you per se from the majority rule because God, the only one, wants to be the ruler in your life besides you. So therefore, there's no such thing in the realm of God about anything being majority rule. You don't dominate the Spirit of God, and you don't rule the Spirit of God in His people. So you will never be the majority rule of nothing. That's why your method backfires on you, because you're trying to rule outside of your elements. You're trying to dominate someone else's free will. Now, we've been taught and brainwashed to observe things always from the outside, even people. We don't want to take time out to learn the inside of people. We want to look at them from the outside and make our so-called imperfect and error type of judgmental towards them. And sometimes people's lives can be at your hand when you calling forth judgment. They call people in for jury duty. Well, you're on the jury, you're going to have to listen to evidence, or you're going to have to listen to arguments. Then you're going to have to draw a conclusion, right? You got to draw a conclusion. But first you got to listen to the case. You got to know the inside scoop to the case before you just draw some type of immature pre-ejaculation judgment call on the situation. Does that make any form of rational sense or logical sense in this crazy world? Now, some of us have been taught to always, we're human beings and we live in a carnal world, a earthly world. So, of course, our natural eye is going to immediately want what it sees, right? Well, if you don't turn the inside of you on the outside, you're always going to depend on outside people and things and circumstances and events to give you what you already know from the inside. I'm going to break this down again. Some get in their car, crank the car up, go to a fortune teller. Can you please tell me about my fortune, about my future, about love and relationship, career, and everything? Can you please tell me? The answer is inside of you. What the heck are you going to go pay so much money for a woman that could be guessing, and she's just a good guesser? Or maybe she do have the gift of prophecy, but it's just being used for in an evil way in the eyes of God. But I had an officer, white guy. He told me, he said, when people don't call you names so long, they don't call you ugly and crazy, and ugly. You begin to believe it, especially as a young person, before you go through the journey of being by yourself. So as a young person, you begin to believe what people is telling you, that you ugly because you don't look like them. You're the ugly duckling, or you're the black swine. So you begin to believe what they told you, and especially if it's the majority rule that is saying this. So you begin to believe what the majority rule is saying, that you're ugly, that you're crazy, and whatever else that they've been saying, that you're nothing, you're nobody, you're a loser, all these negative words. So you begin to believe what they told you, what they put on you, what they prophesied over you, how they make fun of you in a group. So you figure in your mind, well, if a whole group of people is saying I'm ugly, if the whole group of people is saying I'm not beautiful, well, then I have to believe what the majority rule is saying about me. No, you need to believe what God has said about you in His Word, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, marvelously by the hands of God. So that should be your only thought, that I am different from everyone else. I was meant to be different. If I'm ugly in your eyesight, that's your opinion. And we're going back to your opinion, an outside person opinion. That was somebody else's opinion about that lady's artwork. That was somebody else's opinion about somebody clothing design. But that's not, I'm an artist. So you don't know what I have in my mind, and what I had in my mind that I seen was a masterpiece, that I completed this. I did that. Now, rather you see what I was seeing as an artist, that's your problem. But I think my art is good. I believe my art is great. I'm quite sure that when it says that God rested on the Sabbath day, seventh day, when He seen that His work was good. Looked and seen all the waters in the ocean, good. Got the sky going, got grass going, got humans going. Everything that I don't did is good. Even God had self-esteem. And if we're supposed to be in the image of God, we're supposed to have our own self-esteem, our own majority ruling. You are the majority rule. You don't need outside skepticals sitting up here telling you about you. Let me get this. Because people got this stuff twisted. And I know that they love for me to be isolated in the words that I say, because the words that I say make logical and rational sense. For a majority of rule to be all up in your business don't make logical and rational sense. And you don't know a group of strangers and talking about they majority rule and they gonna rule over every aspect of your life. Now, a rational man in a right mind ain't gonna let you do it. Ain't gonna let you dominate their life. Ain't gonna let you just invade their life without a fight. But they call themselves targeting people in order to control or have a false sense of control and dictating to children or to people and treating grown adults as if they're children. And you have grandchildren. What the hell are you doing? Dude, you're being disrespectful. You're crossing boundaries here. Like you never was taught boundaries of another human being and another grown person. So let's drive this car up a little bit further. So Jesus out in the wilderness, and him and God having a chat, and Jesus having a chat with himself of what he about to do for the people, about ready to give his life and shed blood so the people may be saved and rescued. So him and God at this point of his life is having a conversation. Now, sometimes this isolation, even when people call themselves putting you in isolated, don't want you to be a part of the group. I don't want to be a part of your group, ma'am. You just don't understand. You follow me around. I never follow your group and your minority group at all. You follow me around when I don't want to be bothered with you. So let's tell the truth and shame the devil. You bothering people that don't want to be bothered in your majority rule. So the question is, what's wrong with you? That'll make you go to the extreme measure to invade another person and another grown adult person privacy. What's wrong with you? What is it inside of you that you're not finding, and you're trying to hope to find it through me? Because I'm not Jesus and I'm not the holy angels. So you need to go seek the source of all resources. But I'm not him, because I still need him in my life. We need to learn to take our inside and slowly begin to turn it on the outside more. You're so superficial that you neglect your own inside. And that's why women, you say an abusive relationship, because he gives you mixed messages. One moment he's encouraging you, next moment he's putting you down. One moment you ain't getting hit, next moment you been hit. So therefore, at the end of the day, why are you keeping your own self in that situation? Some women waiting for some man to encourage them to do what they already know how to do and the way that they do it. With the man or without the man, but you waiting for a man to encourage you. Right now, I'm waiting for open doors and a job to come through for me, and I already know that I have the power and ability to do it. After raising 4 children all by myself, ain't nothing that a man can do, how he can do it, and the way that he can do it, and say anything about me that I cannot do for myself, as long as I get my money for myself. So therefore, you can never take away the empowerment that I have within myself. Some of the men that cut women down like that suffer from low self-esteem. There's something about him from the inside that he don't want to deal with. So he reflect that out on innocent women and can never stay in stabilized relationship. Same way with women. You're so obsessively jealous because of your low self-esteem. If you really know who you are, rather he go cheat on another woman behind your back or go to another woman or what, you still gonna be fly as hell, and you still gonna be all right. But you have to believe that. It goes back to self. You have to be the one to believe it. So if you could take your inside and turn it out. There was a party thrown last night. We had crackers and cheese, and we had those little cube type of cheese on the crackers. When I woke up this morning, I was like, why can't I breathe? And it wasn't area of my lungs, it was in my stomach, my gut. So I pulled up the YouTube channel, because when I'm not sure about something, I want to learn and I want to see it for myself. So the YouTube channel shows you the inside of your stomach and how it works, and I'm gonna keep looking at it, because sometimes it's like the swelling and all of this, and the reason why it seems like we're being bloated with pain and fluid and inflammation is because of the gut is a very important area that I think that we've been overlooking. The gut, the stomach area, the liver, all of our gallstone, all of this plays a role from the moment that we put food in our mouth and it goes down the esophagus and all those other, I call it the plumbing system in a factory, because that's what it reminds you of, that every piece, I think it's 6 or 7 areas, main organs that's in there, plays a very important, big or small part of relieving the food that we digest out to the rectum and anal. But first, it got to travel through all of these other small, large intestines and just traveling all through. So if we eat too much, like back to back, and we don't get of our stomach time enough to digest it and shrink back down, we got some backup system going on. And that's probably why I can't turn my inside of my stomach so I could see it for myself. But I could just imagine that I cut out bread on this fast. So, but I could just imagine I still use regular sugar in my coffee. That could also, sugar slows down your metabolism system when you're losing weight. So you wonder why you're not losing weight. It's not so much that it's not working, so much as that the sugar, too much sugar, it slows everything down. So I'm going to try to substitute my coffee with some honey and see how that worked for me. But we're talking about inside out. You are your ruler with God. See, if you could just take a moment of your life, imagine you and God in the inside of you, having a relationship. And you don't need nobody else's guidance except the Lord God himself. That's it. Now, if you choose to take somebody else's, feedback, that's good. It doesn't make it solid though. That's good. Thank you for your, for your feedback. I appreciate that. But then I still have to draw my own conclusion on even my art and my writing and now if you critique me about my spelling, okay, thank you for that. Let me go ahead and correct that. So I'm going to swallow that because that needs to be corrected, because I'm trying to make a point to you in writing, not verbal. So that needs to be corrected. But as far as my artwork goes, you can't tell me, because my eye of what I see beautiful is in my own eyesight. So you can't tell me what's not beautiful about my artwork that's coming from within me. That's good. That's your opinion. Okay, thank you very much for your opinion. That's how you see things. That's how the majority people see things, but that doesn't make the majority right. Let me ask you something. Is the majority ruling right to invade other people's privacy, breaking laws? Huh? Are they right on that? Because it's a lawbreaker for you to sit up there and put cameras in people home and stuff because you're majority rule. What that got to do with you following the law just like anybody else? That is not no upholding United States citizen. I uphold the law. No, you're not. You're violating other people's rights. So you're not upholding nothing. Oh, because we're majority rule, we don't collaborate in our own self and our own mind that we're going to be the deputy. And we're going to police Crystal Lack's life, her children's life, and anybody else that we don't target and zoned in on. Just because you're the majority rule and you have a bunch of goofball on your team thinking like you, don't mean that your team is doing things the right way. Majority rule mess is man built, not God built. There is no majority man made mess. It is what God said, and so it shall be, and so it will be. Period. It ain't nothing after that period. So I'm about ready to wrap this up. It was that bad. Well, I'm still feeling kind of sleepy. So that, I think that's going to be my message. Your self-esteem is called self-esteem for you to build your own self up. Your healing, your self-healing, it comes from yourself. It doesn't come from somebody else, right? You wonder how some people can suffer from the same thing, but they become more recovered than the other because there's something that they're telling they self is something that's going on within they self that got them getting up and oh man and being motivated. I went from being in a wheelchair to I pivot and I use a walker, and I don't tend to be doing that for too long because it's like, I'm waiting on these doctors to come up with some kind of medicine for me. And it's like, maybe I just need to study my own inside. Maybe I can become my own damn doctor. And maybe there's some home remedy to some of this stuff that can solve some of this problem. I'm seeing that too much of this processed food is not good for me. Some of our stomach, we probably was some sensitive babies that couldn't take Similac, so we had to use special milk. And we still, as an adult, probably still have those allergies, or we still have those kind of condition. And so that's why certain foods give us an allergic reaction. So it's not so much of this and that. It's so much of, you ever thought about that maybe you was a baby that would get sick over everything that your mom fed you? There was only certain things that you could just eat, that your stomach was so sensitive that it just can't take in what you see. And that's how my stomach used to be, where it's like, I see it, it look good, so I'm going to eat it, right? But it's like, I was starting to notice, okay, bacon isn't good for me because it's filled with a lot of sodium, and then the sodium triggers my high blood pressure, so that's not going to work no more. So I've been trying to slowly cut that out and just replace it with turkey and chicken. Then what's another? You let these men sit up there and talk mad mess about you, and you don't do nothing to save yourself. Let's do this again. You let these men that already have low self-esteem, if they didn't have low self-esteem, they wouldn't be making fun of no woman and talking bad about a woman. What is it about you that's inside of you, sir? Stop bullshitting. I'm going to get real with your ass. Really, I'm not playing no dang overly religious woman here. Sir, what is it about you that will cause you to womanize? Sir, what is it about you that's causing you to be a male chauvinist, think that everybody gonna put up with your shit, sir? What woman in her right mind gonna put up with an abusive ass man every day of her damn life, sir? I'm not your wife, sir, and I'm not your girlfriend, sir. I will cuss your ass out the same way how you cuss me out, sir. At the end of the day, if I wanted to be trigger and be a man hater, I can, after all the damn dirty ass shit that some men have done to me. So therefore, sir, I can become that same man nicer and woman chauvinist if I wanted to. So therefore, I'm the competition that matches up with you, and maybe I irritate you as a woman because you see yourself in me at times. Cause I can chew you up and spit you out and gorge you again and vomit your ass back out if I really wanted to, up and down once I get started. I could chop you down to the point that your low self-esteem won't even have you even looking or thinking that you can go get another damn woman. No matter what you look like, you still curse the moment when you step in front of a woman because of that mind frame of yours, and wonder why you can't hold on to a woman, why you forever in and out of women pantyhose and panties.